Recently had an encounter with someone on my Google Plus page who watched my goth videos and then watched one of my African American videos. And I had to sit down and present my position so that they could understand what I was doing in both cases. Now, I'm a big fan of the goth subculture. I love African American fantasy fiction. I love black science fiction. However, I make an effort to critique the African American community because I see all this dysfunction going on, and I want to see people wake up to the dysfunction that's going on. Because the dysfunctional individuals in this Afro American Negro community are making every effort to undermine and censor the people in communities like the African American comic book collecting community, the black fantasy community, the black science fiction community, and the black goth community. They do not want our voices to be heard. And what they want to do is perpetuate this image of dysfunctional minstrel behavior out here of these thugs, these gangs, and these dope dealing because they want to promote a narrative regarding the black community. And they want their voice to be the only voice in the black community. This is why I critique them so hard because this one voice and one narrative has prevented the African American community from growing for the last 40 years. We all don't think alike, we all don't talk alike, we all don't act alike, and we all deserve a platform to be ourselves. And we can't have that platform if one group is pretty much controlling the stage. And this group presents the most degrading, the most disgusting, the most debaucherous, and the most dysfunctional image of African Americans out here. And they've been doing it for the last 40 years, and they've been controlling the forum for the last 40 years. And if it wasn't for YouTube allowing us to have a platform where we can start speaking for ourselves, we wouldn't be hearing about the different voices out here because I know how these people in this group pretty much work. They do not want to hear from people like your black comic fans, your black sci fi fans, your black fantasy fans, and your black goths. They sit there and they'll call you and I white. They'll call us Oreos. They'll call us sellouts. They'll call us Uncle Toms. They'll say we're acting white when we're just being ourselves. And we have a right to be ourselves. We have a right to represent what we want to represent and the culture and ideas that we see as black. But unfortunately, you have this mainstream group, this primary majority, who want to control and dictate the narrative regarding the African American community and the African American voice. And they want to silence anyone who presents a dissenting opinion, a dissenting view, and dissenting ideas. And these people need to be called out, these people need to be criticized, and these people need to be held accountable because if you want to present a narrative out here, yeah, you have a right to do that, but you do not have a right to dominate the entire platform and say that your voice should be the only black voice and your ideas for culture should be the only ideas for black culture. I mean, who died and made these people to be the authorities over the African American community? Who told them what should and shouldn't be black? Who made them the leaders who should tell us what should and shouldn't be black? The way I see it, there should be room for people who like comic books and science fiction and fantasy and the goth subculture to have a place in the black community, and they should have a place in a forum to discuss what they love about their black culture, their black experience, and they should be able to express themselves freely without any sort of ramifications or repercussions. Now, when I was a kid, this wasn't the way things were. Back then, you had everybody trying to force everybody to follow one black narrative. And guys like me who didn't want to follow that narrative, we had to deal with a lot of bullying, a lot of violence, and a lot of threats from people in the African American community. And thankfully, thank God, things are starting to change and we're seeing more black people trying to create those dissenting voices and dissenting opinions. And if we want to call those other people out for trying to dictate a narrative of victimization and a narrative that pretty much is detrimental to black people, then that's a good thing, because what we're doing is trying to allow express our free speech that is allowed under the Constitution, and no one should have a right to silence us. And a lot of people who hear these dissenting views, their idea, they want to try to silence, people like myself, like black goths, like black science fiction fans, black fantasy fans. They want to silence us so they can continue perpetuating the same narrative that white liberals have presented regarding African Americans as poor, miserable, downtrodden Negroes, um, violent prone Negroes, loudmouth black women, ghetto black women, and they don't want to see a balanced and humanized view of African Americans. And they don't want anybody criticizing them because they want to be the only voice regarding black people. That's censorship, plain and simple. And this is something I have been trying to fight on my own in my blogs, in my own writing, and here on YouTube. And I've spoken about it extensively because the black community is a quasi, as I see it, or a de facto fascist state. And the more voices that speak out against these people who try to silence black people and present one narrative, the stronger those voices get, the more we can have true diversity when it comes to content in the African American community, forums for the African American community, and dialogue regarding the African American community. Because, as I see it, there should be room for other black people who don't follow the narrative of the white liberal and the mainstream black culture to have a voice and a platform to discuss their way of life and their views of black culture and black history, and to discuss what they believe should be black. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.